In this episode, we are taking you on a wine tour to the Adelaide Hills, which is the closest wine region to Adelaide in South Australia. We share the great hop-on, hop-off bus tour we did, which is the best way to organise a trip to the Adelaide Hills, and the top 4 wineries we visited. If you are planning or would like to visit the Adelaide Hills, or if you're just interested in great wine, then this is the episode for you. Now, stay listening to the end when we tell you all about why we have been missing in action for a few months and what huge, exciting travel plans we have coming up for the rest of the year. It's going to be a big one. Please enjoy episode 124, all about the Adelaide Hills wine region. And if you want to see all the pictures and the written information, I'll put some links to the tours and the wineries, then click on the link in the podcast description on the player you're listening on now. Good morning, Lyle. How are you today?
Good morning, Leonita. I'm muy bien.
That's great. Last episode, we talked all about Adelaide, the capital of South Australia, and we promised that we would come back with some episodes on some of the more well-known wine regions. And
Did we?
We did. And we did some wine tours while we were in Adelaide. And today's episode, as I said in the description, is all about Adelaide Hills. It's a favourite of mine for a few reasons, and even more reasons now that we've been. But it's the closest wine region to Adelaide, very easy to get to. If you have a car, great. We did it in a different way, which we're going to tell you about in a little while. But you want to tell people a little bit about Adelaide Hills?
Yeah, it's only 20 minutes from Adelaide Central. It's known mainly for its cool climate wines. It's a former German settlement, and it includes leafy Harndorf with its pubs and galleries, and Le Bethel, famed for its handcrafts and Christmas lights. There's also the Cleland Wildlife Park, which basically there's kangaroos and koalas pretty well freely. You can catch a bus from the CBD of Adelaide to Harndorf, which it only takes about 46 minutes, and it's like $4. So
Okay.
it's cheap.
So if you want to go and have a day up there.
Yeah, and look, Harndorf is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
if you Google Adelaide Hills, that's generally the picture that comes up, especially around the autumn time. Beautiful, big
magnificent.
trees. And as you said, it's full of crafty shops, and it's got an old pub there that we've been to. They've also got places that you can do wine testings and things from.
What about tastings? Is it?
What do I taste? Testings.
Testings, yeah.
Yes. Well, if you want to taste it, I like testing.
All right, and do you want to tell us all about what we chose to do?
Oh, sure. Okay. What we chose to do was do a day trip on the Trail Hopper bus. Now, I'm going to put the link to the website for the Trail Hopper, because we did this twice, went to 2 different regions. Now, they cover 4 different regions, and they pick you up in central Adelaide. You hop on a little bus, probably a 12-seater, maybe a bit more, and you then go around the wine region, and the bus basically drops you off and picks you up. Now, when you're looking at booking this, the website has a timetable. So we looked at the Harndorf and Adelaide Hills timetable. It tells you it departs the city at 10, and then it lists the wineries that it visits and the times that it has a timetable there that drops you off and picks you up. So it's really simple it looks complicated, but it's really simple to figure out where you want to go. They suggest about 4 wineries, and the other thing to do is work backwards from lunch. So on ours, we chose, like we're going to tell you about each winery, but we chose to have lunch at Nepenthe Wines, and so we booked that in and then work back. So about an hour you need at each winery, and if you want to do lunch, you can have up to 2 hours. So it's really a fabulous setup, isn't it? So if you don't have if you do have a car, great, but you don't want to be tasting wine all day and have to then drive home, do you?
No, it takes all the fun out of it. Really.
It does take all the fun out of it. So the Trail Hopper is a fabulous service, and I think it's about $90 a head, which is great value. And they have water on the bus, and if you need them, they're just a phone call away. If you buy wine, they'll just keep it for you in the front of the bus. It's really flexible and really easy to use, and I'd highly recommend it. And if we go back to Adelaide, or when we go back to Adelaide, we'll definitely use them again.
Yeah, and the other thing is make sure you book each tasting rather than just turn up.
Yes, well, they give you all this information, and it says on the website, and it has all the wineries listed, and it has what foods they offer, what tastings they offer, whether they suggest you book, all that sort of stuff, phone numbers, how to get in contact with them. The Trail Hopper information has all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely, especially if you're doing it on a weekend, make sure you book. There's a print off that tells you bookings are essential, and they give you the list of the different tastings that you can do, whites and reds and all that sort of stuff. And there's even some places that have some beer included, like Lot 100 has a distillery as well and a brewery. So there's, you can have wines, gin and beer and cider. So you don't have to just have all the wine as well. So there's some really big name wineries in Adelaide Hills.
Sure.
And do you want to start? Will we start talking about them, or did you want to tell me a little bit more about?
I just want to basically also hats off to Bronnie, the lady that drove the bus. Yeah, she was unbelievable, and the amount of information she gave us, even when we sort of started the driving through Adelaide and picking out the best restaurants and the best bars and that sort of thing. So if you actually do get the chance to do this, I'd do it early in the holiday, because she gives you so much great information on where to eat.
And some hidden little wine bars and things.
Sure.
As well.
And she was fabulous. And she gave a great history of how Adelaide was established.
Yeah.
There are estimated to be about 2,156 wineries and approximately 6,000 grape growers, employing 163,790 full and part-time employees across 65 wine region in Australia. So the wine industry in Australia is huge. It contributes over 45 billion annually to the Australian economy. There are 18 wine regions in South Australia with 680 wineries and 340 cellar doors, 200 of which are within an hour's drive of Adelaide. Now, to me, that's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
It's so close. Now, it produces about 500 million litres of wine, the equivalent to 665 million bottles annually. Around 80% of Australia's premium wine is produced in South Australia.
Yeah, so South Australia is Australia's wine capital. You just have to say that.
So now we're in Adelaide Hills.
Yeah. You can see the Adelaide Hills from Adelaide.
Yeah, it's only 20 minutes. And the actual landscape of Adelaide Hills is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So Adelaide Hills wine region includes an area above 300 metres or 980 feet. The elevation leads to cooler nights during the warm summer months, important for increasing the flavours of the wines during the ripening season, and has higher rainfall. The first vines were planted in the hills at Echunga by John Barton Hack in 1839, 3 years after South Australia was declared a province, with its first wines produced in 1843. With over 90 wine labels and 50 cellar doors, it is acknowledged internationally for its distinctive premium wines and stunning scenery. Bordered by the Barossa Valley to the north and McLaren Vale and Langhorne Creek to the south, Adelaide Hills is the cool climate jewel between our warmer, lower-lying cousins. Adelaide Hills produces everything from the most delicate sparkling wines and aromatic Sauvignon Blancs to the vibrant Chardonnays and spicy Syrahs.
All right, so let's get back to our trail hopper day, yes?
Sure.
So we leave Adelaide at 10 a.m. because it's not that far to go, and we chose our first drop-off at Shaw and Smith.
Yes, and we were greeted by Aaron.
Well, Shaw and Smith, if you've listened to any of our other podcasts, there's one particularly on Darwin where we give Shaw and Smith a real rap. Shaw and Smith Sauv Blanc has been probably my favourite wine of all time for many years. And even though I've been to Adelaide Hills before, I hadn't been to the Shaw and Smith winery. And I was so excited to go there. And we were the first people there for a wine tasting. And as you said, Aaron was there to look after us. I was just so excited, and it's so beautiful. The wine tasting rooms, big open sort of doors that open onto a deck that then leads down to the vineyard and a beautiful lake area, or dam, I guess. It's just very country, not over the top, but just idyllic setting, I thought.
Well, the actual tasting rooms themselves, I felt were outstanding.
Yeah.
Like the architecture, it's
It's
like
simple,
it's very
sleek,
very simple, sleek.
which is what Shaw and Smith's brand is, I guess. Even
Yeah.
their labels are, simple and sleek, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. So well, it was amazing. Aaron opened at 11 a.m. I was a little bit concerned because 11 a.m. to start drinking wine is a little bit of a trap, and probably by the end of the day, it was a bit of a trap. But
No.
the wine was fabulous.
This
But
is
go
the
on.
first wine tasting I've been on where I decided I'm not going to drink it all. Like I'm going to tip it out. I feel bad doing it. I just think, oh my gosh, they must think I don't like it, but it's not the case. There has to be like some sensibility in there, I guess. And the thing about the Sure and Smith tasting, besides Aaron just being so helpful and fun, and we signed up immediately for the wine club.
Yeah. And we have used the wine club on more than one occasion already. And it wasn't that long ago.
No, well, we can talk about that at the end of the podcast as well. But I was blown away by the Chardonnay and the Riesling, and we've bought several bottles of that since. Even though I love the Sauv Blanc, I think maybe those two now, I would have to say, have beaten the Sauv in my favourite list at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we had the $25 per person classic wine flight. Shaw and Smith was established in 1989 by cousins Michael Hill Smith, master winemaker, and Martin Shaw. They focused on a variety that suit the cooler hill climate: Sauvignon Blanc, Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Shiraz. Growing the best possible grapes, managing vineyard sustainability, valuing vine health, soil health, and low yields are central to the Shaw and Smith approach. In the pursuit of quality, the wines are fermented, aged, and bottled on site at Balhana. Now that's where we were. That's where the tasting rooms are. Shaw and Smith own 4 Adelaide Hill vineyards in Lenswood, Piccadilly, Balhana, and Lobathal, totaling 70 acres.
70 hectares.
70 hectares. Site selection is particularly important in the Adelaide Hills with its diversity of altitude aspects, microclimate, and soil. They also use a number of clones of each grape variety, which contributes to different qualities to the final product. The Shaw Smith tasting rooms opened in 2000 overlooking the Balhana vineyard. They also do cultivar. Now, a cultivar is a named cultivated grape variety that has been bred for specific characteristics: taste, smell, size, flavour, colour, and pest resistance. Cultivars are produced through various methods, including grafting, tissue culture, and controlled seed production. Now, we've sort of been, to a lot of wineries, in different countries and that sort of thing. And it's the first time I've actually been made aware of this cultivar and the clones. And that's probably the difference between now the Adelaide Hills to other
vineyards. So Shaw and Smith does 4 different tastings. There's a $20 to $40 feature wine flight, the $25 per person, which is what we did, classic wine flight, the $40 per person single vineyard wine flight, and there's the $130 per person Balhana tour, which is available by appointment. So their bookings for all those are essential. And I might just say too, some of the other places you can go, like we went to 4 wineries, but you can start at the Harndorf Academy and you can get off at Harndorf Hill Winery as well. Shaw and Smith. The next one we went to was Nepenthe Wines, which is on the list. Murdoch Hill is another winery. Lot 100. Now that's popular because it also has, as I said earlier, the brewery and a distillery. Art Wine, which is another one we went to. We've been there before. It's a bit funky, has some different grape varieties. Bird in Hand, now that's a popular one as well. They do often have entertainment there on weekends. Petaluma, which is the 4th one we went to. Barrister's Block Wine, Sidewood Estate, which once again is another well-known one. And then you can end in Harndorf Township if you want to. So there's quite a choice in Adelaide Hills on the Trail Hopper that you can do. Yes?
See.
So Shaw and Smith, happy, joined up, bought some wine for the rest of our week there. And then we, as prearranged, Bron turns back up with the bus and we hop back on. And it's not too far up the hill, and we end up at Nepenthe Wines, as I said. Now, the reason we chose Nepenthe is if we can't get Sharon Smith and we see Nepenthe on the menu, we go for that because it's obviously grown in a similar area. They have a nice Sauv Blanc as well. We decided we're going to have lunch at Nepenthe, and we had a beautiful big cheese board. I keep saying this, but go on our website, beachtravelwine.com, episode 124. I'll have links to the wineries, links to the trail hopper, but also photos of the different wineries, the tasting rooms, and, the views that you got. And that was one of the things I chose. Also, I wanted somewhere to sit where we had views. Now, the views at Nepenthe were beautiful. That was
they were outstanding.
It was a really nice tasting room. Not so much, it wasn't very big indoors, but they had a huge big deck and like a room full of barrels as well, which had lots of atmosphere. And you were looking straight over as far as I could see, over the vineyards. And they were setting up for, obviously, they had champagne, a function on the next day or something. And it just looked so pretty, and it was really beautiful. And that was one I really enjoyed there. I think we just had the $25 self-guided tastings.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Look, one thing I do want to mention is the legend, because Nepenthe, I had trouble saying I still do, Nepenthe wines. But basically, Nepenthe is a possible fictional medicine for sorrow, a drug of forgetfulness.
It's called wine.
Mentioned in ancient Greek and Greek mythology. And so I'm assuming that's why they named it that. But just to give you a few little details, Alice was the lady that looked after us, and Nepenthe was established in 1994, driven by the vision to become one of the region's benchmark wineries. Nepenthe adopts a minimal intervention mentality, believing good wine is made in the vineyard. They source from a variety of sites throughout the region to achieve complexity and maintain quality. Peter Lesk and Mark Cosned own Nepenthe Wines and offer contract winemaking services. The winery has 93 hectares of close planted vines. The winemaker, James Evers, with 26 vintages under his belt, he is dedicated to producing top quality wine. And this is him quoted: "The Adelaide Hills region is extremely exciting for me as a winemaker because of its diverse topography. With so many microclimates, I get to work with an amazing palette of varieties as well as an array of slightly different flavours and style profiles with each variety depending on where in the hills they are sourced."
They offer food there, as I said.
Yeah.
You can get a dips, you can get a $45 cheese board, a mini cheese board, or what we had was a $55 cheese and meat board, which was delicious. So we couldn't get through
basically smoked almonds, apricots, the three cheeses from Upper Delights, which is there's a supply to them.
Local.
We had camembert, goats, truffle brie, and sliced meat.
That truffle brie was divine.
Yeah, and look, and the wines we tried, we had the sparkling wine, the Sauvignon Blanc, Rosé, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and the Shiraz. Yeah, look, it was great.
It was it's beautiful though, just sitting there. Like, you've just sometimes just got to take in the moment, don't you?
That you can actually have
picnics.
Picnics.
That's right. You can sit out on the beautiful grassed area. There's some big shady gum trees there as well, and just sit there and enjoy the atmosphere. It's beautiful. Yeah, enjoyed it. So once again, we get picked up. We did take a little bit longer there because we did have that platter, and then we hopped back in the air-conditioned bus with some nice cold water and deposited a couple of bottles of wine that we bought, and then Bron took us to Art Wine. Now, the reason I sort of I thought Art Wine would be good for us is because they do a trail hopper deal. So some of them do, like 10% off any 6 wines when you join the mailing list. But they have some different varietals, some Mediterranean wines, aren't they? So, and we'd been there before and we'd bought wines from there and really enjoyed them. And it's just a little bit
We
different.
actually joined in their wine club.
It's a little bit smaller. It's not as well known. They've got some little funky art things around the place, and the it was wonderful. And we sat there in front of some great big open windows, once again overlooking the vineyards, and it was we had some cheese, I think, and some smoked almonds.
That's right.
Yeah,
We did.
It
Yep.
was beautiful.
We had that. That was all part of the $25 per head tasting flight.
So $25, you can choose with over 18 different wines. You can choose whether you do red or white, and they do pair it with cheese and their famous house roasted almonds.
The owners, Glenn and Judy, purchased the vineyard in 2011.
Yep.
Before building their home and cellar door, which opened in 2013. In 2008, when they established their Artwine brand, the Mediterranean varieties were few and far between. Fast forward to today, they are behind the largest range of emerging varieties commercially available. While Artwine's focus on Mediterranean-style wines was born of Glenn and Judy's passion for them, their philosophy around them has much deeper roots. They believe wholeheartedly that these old world wines are the emerging future of wine in Australia. Our favourite was the Wicked Stepmother Fiano. That was 2023. In the Groove Gruna Veltliner and the Grace Graciano. The Fiano, we had that the last time we were there, and that was our favourite that time, and it didn't disappoint. The Fiano has elegant aromas of florals and hints of spice that lead to a delicious and subtle spiciness with notes of honey and hazelnut, fabulous on its own or paired with spicy food. The Veltliner pairs well with most cuisines, especially Asian flavours. Textural palate, full mouth stone fruit with hints of spice and celery. And finally, the last one that was one of our favourites was the Grace Graciano, nose and palate of spice and Morello cherries. The great food wines and a perfect match to strong flavoured foods, including lamb and gutsy tomato sauce.
Okay, wow. But it was nice just to go there and try the wines. We didn't try any gutsy
Well, it was our third
sauce.
winery, so chances
I was
are
tipping out.
you were tipping out,
what they do with their advertising here with the Trail Hopper, they say taste the Mediterranean at Art Wine. That's the unique selling proposition, and they've got all the varieties for you to go and have a look at. They've got little signs right there on the vines, and you're very close to the vines where you're sitting having your wine. So, and it's home of Australia's most awarded Fiano. So, there you go.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there, and it is, and it actually says here too that they've designed the cellar door around the French doors. Those great big wooden doors out the front. Perfect Instagram.
Well, there's a photo of us.
There is. There's a sense one, and then there's one that's being silly.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, but
that's probably because it was the third
impressive.
one.
I thoroughly enjoyed that, and going back there again, and it's nice to go to a smaller boutique vineyard. That's another reason I chose it, but also because we've been there and I know the views are nice and the wine was amazing. Yeah. But then it was time to head off to our fourth winery.
And final winery.
And I'll tell you the reason I chose this one, and it's called Petaluma, right? Now it says, here you can enjoy tastings of the Petaluma and Crosser wines, but it says the cellar door has the most amazing view of the rolling Adelaide hills, and the deck will beckon you to stay a while and enjoy the view of the glass of Petaluma or Crosser, which is exactly what it is. And it's a huge, big wooden deck in the shade, and you're up quite high, so you're looking down over the vineyards and the beautiful grass area and lots of gum trees. It's very Australian, isn't it?
Yeah, and where the sun was, if you remember, it was just beautiful.
And Petaluma's main colour is yellow, and the shade out the back sort of had some yellow and white stripes, and it was sort of glowing sitting out on the deck.
Yeah, and Adam met us. Yeah. And Adam was...
Well, we had the deck to ourselves.
We were the animals there. And he was so friendly and so knowledgeable. Now, Petaluma was founded in 1976, built on the belief in carefully selecting the finest viticultural sites within a particular iconic Australian wine region. Now, so Petaluma is actually the oldest winery in Adelaide Hills. This belief is based on planting the right grape variety specifically suited to that region.
So what they do is they go and get the grapes from different regions, the best grapes from those regions, and make
what they do is they select, as much as they know, the specific grape that grows best for that particular area. So Clare Valley is known for the best Rieslings in Australia. Obviously, Coonawarra for the reds.
So we did a Chardonnay tasting.
We did.
We thought that we know that the area is good for Sauv Blanc, for some of the lighter whites, and we've lately started to enjoy Chardonnays a bit more. So we thought, why not try that? And there were some special ones. I really enjoyed them.
Obviously, Petaluma have vines also in Piccadilly. So Piccadilly Valley is the coolest viticultural area in South Australia, tucked in behind Mount Lofty. The Piccadilly Valley has a jigsaw of sub-valleys with geology up to 1,800 million years old. Planted on relatively steep north and east-facing slopes up to 550 metres in altitude, the vines receive the full benefit of the warm early mornings. These distinguished vineyards, which have matured for almost 30 years, flavour delicate Chardonnay flavours and high natural acidity. We chose the Chardonnay tasting which included the 4 premium Chardonnays, and we also got a cheeky exclusive tasting of a Chenin Blanc. Our tasting was $25 per person. You can do a lunch, but you've got to book these prior, $45 for 2 or 6 people for nibbles.
And because we were the only ones there for that short amount of time, Adam, was it?
Yep.
He mentioned that we could try some of the reds. Now, they sourced some of their reds from Tasmania, so I was pretty excited to try those. So, yeah, we did a little bit of a sneaky red tasting as well, which he did for us, which I thought was really nice.
Actually, the first wine we tasted was Tasmanian Chardonnay. And it was called the 2020 Bay of Fires. Lifted aromas of peach and preserved lemon proceed a long textured palate, carefully balancing vibrant fruit and elegant French oak, a true cool climate style. Now, for those people that are not sure about Australia, Tasmania is the state at the bottom of Australia. So it's the coldest region, the most southern region. Yeah. And their wines are just magnificent. And we have done previous podcasts on Tasmanian wines. So if you're interested, you can always go back. Now, the next wine we had, it was a 2023 Yellow Label Piccadilly Valley. Now, it's $65 a bottle.
It was beautiful, though.
Oh, magnificent. Yeah. Generous and layered, the wine builds up on tight citrus lime and focus with ripe, rich stone fruit characters and a subtle oak influence. The oak adds cashew and toasty notes, while controlled malolactic fermentation provides a hint of butter and added depth of flavour. That was beautiful. I mean, really, really good. Top of the pops, probably in price, but they were all great. And this is $140 a bottle. It's the 2021, the Tears Piccadilly Valley.
Did we try that one, did we?
Yeah, we did. Okay. The best, I remembered. The palate shows restraint and elegance with fine, creamy textures underpinned by a graceful drive of mineral acidity and fruit persistence. Flavours of white and yellow stone fruit, citron curd, and grapefruit. We
obviously have different perspectives on wine tastings. Lyle loves to talk about how the wines are made and the buttery taste and the this and the, the tannins, and you like learning about that. I understand a lot of people do. For me, I just enjoy wine regions, and because they always have really nice food. The cellar doors are generally just really pretty. They make it really inviting to go and sit. And there's nothing nicer than sitting on a deck overlooking vineyards and often some water and some big shady trees with a lovely glass of wine that's made from the vineyards that you can see, and tasting some cheese, which is made, just down the road. And there's just something special about that. And that's what I loved about this day in Adelaide Hills, and doing it on the bus just made it so easy. I mean, we had to stick to a time schedule a bit, but not once did I feel rushed at all. And probably having a bit of a time limit is probably a good thing. Otherwise, you could get caught up, just maybe, not seeing as many things. I think one of the hardest things was choosing the 4 that we did, but we had been to some of the others previously, but I'm not unhappy with any of them that we did.
Yeah, look, and to go back to what you were saying about not drinking all the wine, Leanne, as she said, for the first time, she decided that she was just going to taste the wine rather than drink the wine, and I think it is a smart idea.
And don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, because the actual people that are doing the tastings, they're knowledgeable, and they know you're actually probably showing how much knowledge you do have. The fact that you're not having to drink it all, and you're there for the right reasons. You're there to learn about the wine. You're there to taste it, not necessarily get drunk. So, yeah, you did a really good job, and obviously you felt a lot better the next day. But I thought it was great. All the wines, they're all elevated.
Yeah, well, the ones I chose,
means you were always looking down into these beautiful valleys.
But I did choose them because it says Nepenthe Wines, Unparalleled Views, award-winning climate wine. I did specifically choose wineries that they mention views, but you're right that they're all just lovely. Even some of the other ones we've been to in the past as well. Yeah. And some these ones weren't that busy. I think there's a couple of them like the Bird in Hand. Yeah. That's a very popular one.
But good they've wine got too.
It is, and they've got gardens there as well. And the other one that's quite popular is at Sidewood Estate.
Yep, very good.
Yeah, so you can go to some of the more popular ones. A lot of younger people at those wineries just enjoying, I guess, that maybe they're not doing a wine tour. They just go and have lunch there or something like that. So, as I said, go and have a look at the pictures. Beach Travel Wine, episode 124. I'm going to put pictures of each winery that we did, the views that were there and the tasting rooms. I'll put a link to the different wineries, plus also the trail hopper, because we love that. We did something similar in New Zealand called the Wine Hopper. And that's why we found this one, the trail hopper, and it was great.
Oh, look, value for money.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Look, it's a whole day.
Yeah.
And it's $90 each.
Yeah, I think last pickup, if I look at the timetable, was the last pickup is at like 4:20. So that's in Hahndorf itself. So you picked up at 10 and you're basically home by, it says arrive at the city at 5 o'clock. So you're out all day. Don't have to think about driving. The bus driver looks after your purchases, keeps them all together for you. It's a really, really great setup. We loved it.
Yeah, look, and if for our overseas listeners, and if you ever see an Adelaide Hills Sauv Blanc, because that's probably what Adelaide Hills is most known for. I've never had a bad one. And when I say I've never had a bad one, they're generally exceptionally good.
Yeah.
But both Leanne and I fell in love with their Chardonnay and their Riesling this particular trip. So
now it was interesting that on both tours that we did, there were quite a few people. I think there were about 6 of us on each bus, but most of the other people were from overseas.
Yeah.
Which was great because you don't often hear about people who travel to Australia visiting South Australia, do you? So obviously they're wine lovers.
Yep.
So we're going to come back the next podcast and we did another trail hopper tour to the Barossa Valley. Now, I think most people in the world who like wine have heard of the Barossa Valley. It's known for its Shiraz. Like people all over the world know that.
So does this mean we're back?
Well, if you've listened this far, we have been a bit missing in action. In Australia, our summer holidays basically go December, January, February, and we just sat back and enjoyed that this year. Like we had family around and the weather was beautiful. We did lots of walks, lots of beaching, and just took it easy, didn't we? We just took some time off and we had...
You had another brand new grandchild?
Yeah, we've had that. But not since we started the podcast. That was in...
No, but what I mean
is... Yeah, but I've had grandkids
during that for the first Christmas.
9. We had so many people and it was wonderful. And then in February was my 60th birthday. And so we had a pretty big week. We went and did some nice stuff up in at a fabulous restaurant called the Spirit House
in Yandina. About 10 minutes from Yamundi and about a half an hour from...
We've done a podcast on
Noosa Heads.
Yeah, and Noosa. And then we had a weekend with the family as well.
On the Gold Coast.
And that was early March. And in between all that, we're actually planning a 12-week holiday to Spain. So...
Again.
So we're going to do a whole series on that, and that's why I wanted to come back, because people are still reaching out. Our podcasts are getting downloaded like all the time, like hundreds a day, and people are just planning their holidays. And I know last Adelaide we did was one of our most popular, so people just are soaking up the information. So I feel like we've got lots of information to share. So we mightn't be back on the dot every week, but we'll manage to get as many done as we can. We're off to Perth next week, and then off to northern New South Wales beaches down near Coffs Harbour, and then we head off to Spain. So we're busy travelling. So yeah, keep an eye on our social media. If you Instagram Beach Travel Wine, that's probably the best place, or in Facebook at Beach Travel Wine, and you can see what we're up to a bit more time sensitive, because sometimes our podcasts with the episodes we put out are quite a bit after we've been to the place. So we're a bit excited about our Spain trip. We've got some new places, some old favourites. So, yeah, we just can't wait to share that with you as well. So.
Yeah, and then we're going down later on in the year. We're going to go down to the Hunter Valley.
We're going to Sydney in the Hunter Valley, another wine region.
Yeah, that's the oldest wine region in Australia.
We'll hopefully get a couple of wine tours in Spain as well. So we've got lots happening. This is a huge year, isn't it? Massive year. So we've got lots to share. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our podcast all about the Adelaide Hills wine region. Please, send an email, leanne@beachtravelwine.com, if you have any questions, or direct message me on Instagram, and we look forward to talking to you next time. So where's your favourite place to have a wine? Nearly forgot.
I've got to go.
In the Adelaide Hills. I'm going first. Sean Smith.
Well, I'm going to go Petaluma.
Yeah.
And I think, Matt, part of that, it was part of the day, and it was, the time of the day we did it. Yeah. It was just beautiful. Adam was great. The scenery was fabulous.
Sean Smith just because I've always wanted to go there. But then I think about Nepenthe. I think that was probably the prettiest spot.
See?
Closely followed by, Petaluma and Sean Smith. There was just something about I think because they were setting up for an event and it just looked elegant and pretty. And
talking about Nepenthe.
Yeah. And then you can look back, go down to the vineyards, and you look back up and you can just see the big tasting room. Very, very pretty.
But then you look at Art Wine and their focus on the Mediterranean grapes.
Yeah, I think
that was unique in itself.
I think we did a good job of different wineries, and I think the 4 we selected, I think, were great.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from her, and thanks very much for listening.